let me start this one out. I want to say something kind of funny. Okay, we're starting over. Okay, welcome to this special and extra December episode of Slow Living Through the Seasons, where I've invited a very special guest onto my podcast today. So, Emma Kingsley, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I thought, we were talking about slow living through the seasons and all the things that make the season, and we've been chatting throughout the podcast in recent weeks about decorations and how to make things simpler and how to reduce the amount of stress and waste and all these things. So it occurred to me that Christmas trees are a really big part of this. So I thought we could get together and just talk about Christmas trees. Like, what are the traditions culturally, personally, and how can we handle that in a more good dirt way, a more slow living through the seasons way?
Well, it's an interesting topic, and I think that for many people, Christmas trees are non-negotiable. And for me personally, and maybe, many who listen to this podcast, a real Christmas tree, non-negotiable, a live one, although of course if you have allergies or whatever, that's understandable. I don't know, no judgment. Everyone has their own reasons. But for me personally, it's got to be real. And I don't know, lately, the past few years, definitely I've gotten a lot more lax about it. I don't have kids. It's just me and my partner at the house. And sometimes it can feel like a lot of money for a thing that's like a lot of work. I don't know. Currently at this moment in time, I'm feeling very lukewarm about Christmas trees. We haven't gotten one yet, but that might just be because I've been so busy. This has not been a slow living season for me personally, and for many reasons. But yeah, I was just thinking about that this morning. Like, haven't really been able to get into the Christmas spirit yet. So we'll see. And we're leaving town for a week around Christmas. So we won't even be here on Christmas, and we'll be gone the week before. So I don't know. We might not even do one this year, which is crazy. How are you feeling about Christmas trees?
Yeah. Well, it's like kind of like the whole reason I even thought to have this conversation is because I realized, we're always saying pay attention to how you feel about a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you judge, whether or not you want to include it or bother with it. Are you following just the holiday rat race in jumping through the hoops or something? Or are you actually following an impulse that gives you delight and joy in this season?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that for the last couple of years that bringing it into our home and watching it kind of dry up over the weeks and start to shed needles and basically just kind of wither away didn't give me a great feeling. I didn't feel so good about that. And I always thought, well, for several years in the recent past, we cut our tree down from this conservation area that we belong to, so the trees are not treated, and they're in all their natural shapes, and they're grown there to be cut down. So that's the purpose. So that was always kind of like, well, that's what they're for. And I just realized that didn't feel so good to literally cut a tree down, a live tree, and bring it home and let it die. So last year I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go to a Christmas tree lot, because those are already cut down, and that's what they're grown for. They're grown in farms, and its life is over anyway, so might as well enjoy it for what it was raised to do. So then I started looking around about Christmas trees and learning, like, how they're farmed, and there's tons of chemicals used. It's really like an industrial farming crop. Also, you can't be sure exactly what you're bringing into your house, what kind of preservatives and all that kind of thing. And so that wasn't feeling so great either. So this year I was like, I don't know what exactly I want to do. And, talk to more and more people that are foregoing the tree and doing maybe a garland or, a more elaborate table display where they can use lights and greenery and that sort of thing, and fruits, wreaths, a lot of different alternatives and possibilities. And so in poking around, I kind of discovered a lot of things I didn't know about before. But anyway, before we got into that too much, I thought it would be fun to talk about any memories we have about Christmas trees or our own personal traditions. And since yours and mine certainly overlap in your growing up period, what what do you remember about a Christmas tree? What is your joy in the tree tradition?
Oh, they're the best. Just going to get it, decorating it, staring at it all season with all the lights. Yeah, I kind of feel like in this conversation, it makes me just think like a lot of things with Christmas that
Hmm.
with kids it's so different. So if you don't have like someone else that you are like trying to create magic for, and you're really just like, I just want magic for myself, or what's going to make you feel connected to the season, it's interesting to think about, oh, maybe I don't have to cut a tree down and bring it into my house, you know or
Hmm.
maybe, yeah, maybe we just don't this year, and we put greenery around, and maybe we have a super small tree. The little tiny ones at Whole Foods are really tempting. I was thinking I might just get one of those, like a little tabletop tree. But yeah, I know the memories are just so, you just can't, I can't even imagine as a kid, like, no Christmas tree. So I don't know. It's different. Is it just like a kid adult thing? I'm not sure.
Well, I'm like you. Like as a child, I cannot imagine like my mom saying, "Oh, we're not going to do a tree this
Yeah.
year. It's too much trouble." I mean, no, that would have, really, really taken away from Christmas magic in a major way.
Yeah.
And I've brought that into my own feelings
Hmm.
around the holiday. I want that magic in my house. And so I've been thinking this year, you know, what are some ways I can bring the magic in without bringing that bad feeling about all the things associated with Christmas trees? There are the problems with the real trees that we've just talked about, and certainly plastic trees or
Although I will say, for the record, we had a fake tree for a couple of years. The last couple of years that we were in Georgia.
oh, what, you're right. Someone gave us one.
Yeah, or something where you were like, it's too, there's kind of like these cycles of like the real tree. And then on the
Right.
other side of it is like, yeah, if you have a plastic tree that, sure, it's plastic, but you're reusing it from year to year to year to year. So it's just one, and you're not, killing a tree every time. Like, there's no argument to be made for that. So, yeah, maybe that feels much more sustainable to you, in which case, great.
You know what? Okay. First of all, you're right. I had forgotten, like the last couple of years we were in Georgia, someone had given it, someone had this great big artificial tree. As I remember, it was given to us. I
I
don't,
don't
do you
remember
remember?
how we acquired it, but I do remember that you were like, we're going to try this because it's just feels a little bit more doable.
It's funny that you should remind me of that. I'd totally forgotten of that. But it was big and you had to get a ladder and stick the things in the grooves and all. And
Yeah.
you're right, it did seem like a more sustainable option. In a lot of ways it is. Like if you, go online and read about the sustainability of Christmas trees, you're going to get all these arguments one way or the other. And yes, the artificial Christmas tree you can use for years and years and years. But there's still tons of issues with it. The materials, the plastic, the microplastics, the disposability of it is, has to go in a landfill. There's nowhere else for it to go. But that's the same with real trees too. Most of them, only a very small fraction of them get actually composted or used in a way that's anything other than being thrown in the landfill. And you know what happens in the landfill. So we always put ours out on the yard and set it up and to catch snow and for the birds to eat on and that sort of thing, which is really sweet for a few months. But there always comes a time when you need to do something else with it. We usually chop ours up and compost it. But then I worry about, ooh, is there something sprayed on the tree that's not going to be good in the compost? I don't know. So there's all kinds of questions, and it's just such a widespread practice. So I just think it's interesting to think about all the aspects of all the choices,
Mhm.
and we've tried almost all of them. To your point, at live tree, and then you were really little when we did the live tree that was planted, and bring it in pot and all and decorate it, and then afterwards, um, go out and put it in the yard.
Oh, I
Do you
don't
remember
remember
that by
that.
any chance?
No. That sounds heavy.
It was so heavy. It was really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then the tree didn't make it.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising. For 4 weeks, it's got lights hanging on it, and anyway, there, it's, there's issues with all of these things. So anyway, I was looking around, and I got some ideas that I hadn't thought of before, or I saw some things, some alternative ideas, and again, what we always say is, we're here to inform and to get you thinking and to get you kind of tuning into how you feel about a certain thing and what decision you want to make about it based on, the things that and it's your choice as to how to proceed. So anyway, so there are these conservation places that will grow the trees. Like I said a few minutes ago, we belong to one where you can go out every year and pick your tree and cut it down because that's what it's there for. Okay, there's that option, and then you're not getting all the industrial farming substances and all that kind of thing that comes with this giant commercial growers, and those trees have been cut down for probably weeks by the time you get them. So they're well on their way out. And then of course the thing where you have a live tree and you lug it home and it's planted in a pot and you decorate it, then you take it out and you plant it. So I've told you my experience with that. So we never did that again. It didn't feel like the right thing. But I saw on the internet there are places, not many, but in some places in the country where you can rent a real tree from a garden center.
Hmm.
And so they come in and deliver it, and you decorate it, and then they come get it after, and they take it away and take care of it. So what do you think of that? I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, sounds like as long as the labor of moving
Yeah.
it around.
So I was interested to see that option. I don't think it's very widespread. It's very, very regional. But if you live in a major metropolitan area, there might be a place that does it. Certainly a place that does it for offices, I would think. Also saw something I really loved. There are these trees that you can buy that are made of either all wood or all metal. And it's just like a stand, with the center pole and the branches.
Oh, like a fake
Yeah,
tree, but it's not plastic.
exactly. But and you put your
That's
own
cool.
greenery on it. It's just like a frame, like a kind of a skeletal version of a tree, and you can do what you want on it. And I thought, oh, I might try one of those next year. I saw one somewhere that I really liked. It was all metal, and it was cute, and that can be like a really nice kind of minimalist Christmassy look. And you can hang ornaments or do, attach any kind of greens you want on there, put a star on top, whatever. So you said you haven't decided what to do this year yet. Your plans are still uncertain.
Haven't decided. The date of recording this, it is December 7th. So we're 1 week into December. When this comes out, it'll probably be another week, right? So, yeah, it might not happen. We might do no Christmas tree.
Well, you want to hear what I've decided to do?
Yes.
I've done it actually already. I got a bucket and I put a bunch of rocks in it, and I went outside and I trimmed the holly bush that's loaded with berries this year, juniper. I guess it was just those two that I used, and got, good long branches. And, these bushes, pruning them is good for them actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I selected, straight branches and placed them in the bucket to kind of replicate a Christmas tree shape, and it turned out pretty well. It turned out really well,
Wow.
actually.
That's
And
cool.
so I have cut branches in a bucket of water, supported by rocks,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not flopping over. Trim it up a little bit, and it looks good. It really does look good. It's not exactly the same vibe, I have to admit, but I'm just trying it out. I'm just trying it out and see how it feels. I
Yeah.
want that warm, twinkly feeling, like, you're sitting there at night by the fire. You want that.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to let go of that quite yet.
I think if it was another year, and definitely, definitely, if slash when there's kids around, there will be Christmas trees. Just feeling particularly just like not in the holiday spirit this year. I don't know why. Probably too just not slow living. Um, but we do have a elementary school nearby that sells Christmas trees, and they're definitely like industrial farmed Christmas trees.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's nearby, and we can walk and bring the tree home. And so I think that's probably what we would do because it supports the elementary school. You have your reasons for doing things. And then if I
Absolutely.
lived somewhere else, I would probably go cut one. And I might be like really discerning about what I cut. Like I might cut something that maybe it's already kind of dead or something. I don't know. Or maybe it looks weird, or maybe it's not actually, maybe it's a big invasive plant or something, and kind of do what you did, which is kind of shape it into you know, I'm all about the like weird looking Christmas tree. I think that's cool.
Well, there are instances where, you know, in a wild area that it's good to call. I mean,
Yeah.
there are times when it's really not inappropriate to take a tree out. But that's a pretty kind of rarefied instance, and you have to sort of know what you're doing and where to go. And, that's not the common practice. That, of course,
Mhm.
the hugely widespread thing to do is to go to one of these big lots and get something that, yeah, has been commercially farmed. And not to knock that, it's some people's livelihoods, not to take that away at all. But like all of the industrial systems that we talk about on here, there are things to know and there are choices that you can make with regards to your goals in a sustainable lifestyle. And again, circling back to how you feel about things yourself. So it's just worth thinking about, I think, and worth talking about, and knowing that you and I are both kind of in a gray area on it as we speak. And don't worry, Emma, it's still early in
Okay.
this season. You have time to get the spirit. You'll have to come over here and look at my Christmas
Okay.
bush.
Yeah. Definitely. I
Yeah.
think so, this time, so I work at a school, which is part of why I've been so busy. And I also tutor outside of school. So I think in school land, this time is just so like the kids are extra, crazy before break, and there's so much to cram in, and just the energy of like early December is just a lot. So I think I might just be feeling that.
I think you
And then
are.
maybe mid-December when school lets out, I can finally get in the Christmas mood. I feel like the Grinch a little bit, but it's okay.
Well, it's good to look at those things and say, why do you feel like a Grinch and what
Yeah.
do you want to do about it, if anything?
Exactly. Well, we certainly are wishing you listeners all of the Christmas holiday spirit, however you're celebrating, and that you're able to find and make beauty around you in a way that feels good. And yeah, we'd love to hear all of your thoughts and ideas about these things or anything else that you're thinking about in regards to sustainability around the holidays.
I'd like to invite anybody, any of you that have kids and you've decided against the Christmas tree thing, I'd be curious to hear about that. Like, what are you doing instead? If indeed you even celebrate this season in this way. I think it'd be interesting for people to hear about alternatives with children when you do want to create the holiday atmosphere in your home. But because of all these things we bring up, you've decided to do something else. Be really curious about that.
Yeah,
So, Emma, thank you for being my guest on Slow Living Through the Seasons.
it's been a pleasure. It's great. It looks great in here. Good job.
All right. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be back on the Good Dirt next week.
All right.
Okay. Bye, everybody.